is one of those shows, one of those weeks that gets me really fired up. This is the Valspar Championship week, which I'm delighted to report there still are tickets available for the Valspar Championship. Log on to valsparchampionship.com. This is that time of year that being down at the Innisbrook Resort, being down in Palm Harbor, Florida, being in the Clearwater area, St. Pete area, the Tampa area at large is probably the nicest place in the world that you could be, bar none. Right? There's so much going on. You've got minor league baseball. You've got the beaches. You've got spring break for a lot of kids and families. And you've got the Valspar Championship, where we get to see world-class golf being played on the Copperhead course at the Innisbrook Resort. This is a course that many players will tell us, and it'll happen all week. Just stay tuned. This is my favorite course of the entire Florida swing. It is that unique with the way that this course rises and falls. In many ways, to me, it kind of feels like a course in the Carolinas. So as part of what we're doing this week, we have a special guest coming on to join us that I love when we have a chance to talk because, in fairness, rare is the opportunity to speak with someone who possesses true greatness. To speak with someone who, through their career, had achieved an immortality that is reserved for a precious few because of an enshrinement, in this case, in this person's sports Hall of Fame. It is the Pro Football Hall of Fame for Ronde Barber. Ronde Barber's career was nothing short of remarkable. 16 years in the NFL playing for the Tampa Bay Bucks. A career, 47 interceptions and 28 sacks. 5-time Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl champion. No surprise, and of course, for everything I was just talking about, the Tampa area, it has led him to the Valspar Championship, where he's now co-general chair of the Valspar. This man knows football. This man knows success. He knows charity, knows the importance of giving back. What he did in the NFL is amazing. Most consecutive starts by defensive back, 215, 224, including the playoffs, 1999 to 2012. Most consecutive starts by a cornerback, 200, 209, including playoffs, 1999 to 2012. Only player in NFL history with 45-plus interceptions and 25-plus sacks. Buccaneers franchise records, equally as impressive. Most interceptions in a single season with 10 in 2001. Most interceptions in a career, 47. Most pass deflections in a career, 197. Second most fumble recoveries in a career, 12. Most non-offensive touchdowns in a career, 14. Most starts in a career in any position, 232. That was from 97 to 2012. Most games played in a career, any position, 241. Same time frame. Most sacks by defensive back in a career, 28. Most interceptions in a game, 3, tied with 2 others. Most fumble returns for touchdowns in a season, 2, tied with 2 others. It is unbelievable. Great to have Ronde Barber joining us right now. Ronde, awesome to catch up with you, my friend. How are things going in your life?
Very, very well. I don't need a personal hype man. I just got you, Matt. That was a really nice introduction.
Dude, that is all your story. There's no hype. That's all facts. All right, this week is huge for you. It's huge for the Valspar Championship. As we mentioned, because I'm in the area, I know how crazy the area is at this time of year. How awesome is it that when you're looking at the menu of hits in the greater Tampa area and people coming in from all over the world to enjoy it, this week the Valspar Championship is right at the top.
Yeah, it's good to be part of this great sports scene. I mean, you mentioned some of the things going on. The St. Pete Grand Prix was a couple of weeks ago. Baseball is definitely in full swing with all the spring training. The Lightning are playing right now. The draft is right around the corner for all the people that just can't get away from football and love it. This is it's good to be front and center in such an enormous sports market down here. But we're used to it. We like our little spot where it is at the end of the Florida swing. The springtime is starting to blossom around it. I mean, you've seen this golf course here while you've been here this week. It's beautiful. They've done a great job after the hurricanes that came through Milton that really put this course underwater. And for this golf course, for Innisbrook to get this golf course to look the way it does, just really 5 or 6 months later, it's been pretty remarkable.
It is incredible. You mentioned something that I want to follow up on. You mentioned about your spot on the calendar because there's people that could look at you guys and go, well, you got these signature events, you're coming off the signature events. And I look at it and go, one, you have to recognize that the strength of your field is not based only upon how welcoming you guys are, how much fun it is, that players like to bring their families down for all the amenities that I just mentioned and you and more. But you're also in a position that creeps closer and closer to the Masters. And I don't think that's ever talked about enough in how much that plays into the fact that players are like, look, we've been playing in Florida for the Florida swing. Now we have a course that has some undulations and up and down, and I can work on some different things to get me ready for what's just a few weeks down the road.
Right. I would never say that this is Augusta National, but as far as Florida and what comes after us, Texas goes, this is the only course that, that has any semblance to hitting up and down, left and right shots, dealing with the same type of rough that they're going to see out there. It's a really good test of golf. There's a reason why our scores are never really too deep into the double digits. If you can get around this course and shoot 69, you feel like you've done yeoman's work most of the time. There's just some great holes, great setup by Packard when he made this course way back in the day, and the restoration that they did about 10, 7, 8 years ago. It's really brought this course to life, and year after year, it turns into a great challenge for the best players in the world. So we're lucky. We're very fortunate. And the agronomy, before I go too far off on talking about this place, the agronomy that's able to happen this time of year is absolutely ideal for this golf course. Put the rye down probably late October, and by this time of year, it's perfect.
At this point, Rodney, there's not a lot of premium tickets left because of the popularity of your event in the area, but you introduced some new wrinkles in terms of if people want to come in, they want to have a place to chill out, maybe get in the air conditioning, have a drink, have something to eat.
Yeah.
Could you talk to us about some of the, I guess, creative mindset that you guys brought to it so that people can get exactly what they want?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge on the PGA Tour is always trying to stay the same, but innovate a little bit here and there every year. And we've had to do that over the past couple of years. I mean, we have private hospitality, the chalets at Line 18. You see those. Those are
I love those.
Beautiful structures that we have put up. But we do a lot of shared hospitality around the course so that people can come in and out of different venues. 16 and 17 has Kettle One Lounge, and the Snake Pit Club on 17 are two great places for shared hospitality. But last year we introduced a new concept called the Copperhead Club. So Friday and Saturday we rent out the clubhouse, the main clubhouse, which is right next to the first tee, and that becomes part of our shared hospitality. They get access to this hopper, the Snake Pit hopper passes that goes between 16 and 17, but they also get a chance to go into the clubhouse to kind of chill out and get away from the conditions, if you will, if you want. Buffet food in there. You can get off the menu in the afternoon as well. Drinks, cigars. It's a great concept for us, and those tickets are still available as well. So we're always trying to launch some new things, and that was the one that I think we're most excited to see how it performs here in the next year, and if it does, we'll keep doing it. But we always have a great time. There's so many activations in and around the course, and we're very excited about this coming year, as we all every week.
You should be with all the stuff you guys have planned. As Rodney was saying, there are tickets available in these different venues. There's not as many as there were because they sell out quickly, and they will be probably totally gone by Thursday. I'll be hosting up at NBC Sports for Golf Channel until Thursday, and then I'm going to come down and check it out and say hello, my friend. Where on course, if you have the ability to just go chill someplace and watch golf, where do you think the best place is to set up?
Oh, that's a great question. There's so many. I mean, the most entertaining is the Hooters Owl's Nest on 13. But we also have a Dex lounge, which is also shared hospitality on 12T. That area is fantastic. It's brand new. It sits right at the end of the par five, number 11. You get to see the tee off of guys going to 12. And you can kind of see the tee. You can't really see the green, but you can see the tee on 17, which is the second to last hole on the snake pit. Those 3-hole snake pit, and it's fun. It's a kind of a party, which is what we're trying to ensue. But I mean, you can go to the front nine and kind of casually walk around. But I think most of our entertaining is done on the back nine of this golf course. Obviously, you have the grandstands on number one, and there's a public deck also on the 10th tee. So those are great places just to kind of sit around and kind of grab a beer, do whatever. But you will not miss out on finding things to do at Innisbrook. Tracy West, our tournament director, is always like, if there's an area we can find and build something, we're gonna build it. She and her crew have done a great job just really getting this thing activated for Valspar, our title sponsor, and for everybody that comes out and enjoys this tournament with us.
There is no doubt about that. And I want it noted, folks. Ronde said that I was good at promotion and hype. I think he's pretty good at promotion and hype too. All right, before we take a break here, there's just a couple more things I want to touch on, because you mentioned, you keep on triggering me and setting me down these different pathways. When you mentioned one of your sponsors, Hooters, didn't I read that this week the brilliant St. Andre group is doing something with you guys with John Gruden?
Yeah. John has a storied history with Hooters, and so he's doing something with them on I think on Thursday. But with St. Andre and John Gruden are doing this challenge on the 18th hole this week on later today, actually on Tuesday, and it's going to be in the 18th fairway, and it's kind of a bucket challenge. And you know that St. Andre group. I think you guys have worked with them in the past.
We have, yeah. Awesome.
I'm so excited to see how John interacts with them and the fans that are there to watch the guys practice. Because Tuesday is really not a tournament day at all. There's no pro-ams. It's just guys out there practicing. So we get a chance to, take up some of the course and put some of our fun stuff to life.
And you guys are diving right into the fun stuff that will take place outside of the ropes as well. That's why I always say to people, look, if you want to go to a tour event, it doesn't matter if your friends or your spouse plays golf, loves golf, whatever. There's so much to do. Saturday night, you guys have a big concert coming up. You're going down the road of a country music theme again.
Yeah, country music seems to be what we've settled on. It's where our comfort zone is with this with our demographic here. Saturday night, Jordan Davis. And Jordan Davis is a guy I didn't really know anything about. And then I started listening to Jordan Davis, and I kind of like Jordan Davis. So, everybody that comes into the tournament, any admission ticket has access to that concert Saturday night on the Osprey Range, which is right across the street. It's inside the gates, but right across the street from the 14th hole. And last year was 10,000 people. I think the Hootie or Darius Rucker, I should say, 2 years ago felt like 20,000 people. It's a great concert that we put on. It's Valspar Live, actually presented by Chick-fil-A. If you want me to quote it, quote what it really is named. We get great acts. Last year we had Cole Swindell. I am probably as excited about Jordan Davis as any of these acts yet, because I didn't know him, so I had to start listening to him, and I started listening to him, and I really liked him. And he's a good dude. I met him a couple of months ago in Denver too, so I'm looking forward to that Saturday night.
All of it sounds very, very cool indeed. All right, as we continue, folks, and don't forget, ValsparChampionship.com is the website if you want to get down there this week and take advantage of any of the stuff that's going on. I can't wait to get back there. It's a place where myself and my wife Donna go to every single year. It's one of our favorite events, and we just go to hang out and take in all of it. Probably bringing back some memories watching this video. This is courtesy of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Incredible. It's kind of giving me a chill right up my spine watching all of this. I'm curious what it means to Pro Football Hall of Famer Rodney Barber as he watches glimpses flickering of his own career, because, dude, we're approaching, a decade and a half, not quite there, since these days of glory. Is it fun to look back?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's been 15 years, right? I think going on 15 years since I retired. So yeah, it seems like it was yesterday, but I know for a fact because I turned 50 in a couple of weeks that it's not yesterday. It's a couple of years ago, but always good to remember what what I did and how I got those accomplishments done and what it took. You see some of the images. It looks easy, right? You just glide down the field, making
No, you
plays,
made it.
but
You made it look easy, though. In fairness, that's the
right,
difference, right?
right,
I am
right, right.
curious. What hurts? I mean, I know for a fact every professional golfer or every professional athlete played when they probably shouldn't have. What's the
Yep.
residual now? What hurts you?
Oh man, my right knee tore my PCL, and for years I was able to deal with it. But just as I'd say the last 5 years, that right knee is getting bad. But I got a broken forearm that doesn't bother me. I dislocated my elbow when I was in college. That doesn't really bother me. I broke my foot when I was in college, and I had to get that cleaned out in the pros. That doesn't bother me yet. So I'm actually pretty fortunate that I'm not as beat up as I probably could be with 16 years mileage, NFL mileage on me. But the most important thing, Matt, none of it affects my golf game.
Well, that's good to hear. That's very good to hear. Why golf for you? What was it about the game of golf that whispered to you? Did it kind of fill some competitive void
Yeah.
after retiring?
I would say after I was retired, it 100% filled the competitive void. I go to my golf club, Old Memorial, or the Pelican over in Clearwater, down in Bel Air. I play in a lot of events. That those juices never go away. Um, Even playing in pro-ams, where there's some sort of prize at the end, makes me want to compete. And the biggest thing is the challenge. I think one of the things that made me great at playing football was that it challenged me, because it didn't come easy at first. Yeah, as we've talked about. My road was not linear. I kind of took a circuitous route to get to my fame, and certainly my accomplishments. So I had to work on it, and that's one thing that really correlates with golf. I mean, I've had to work on it. I was lucky that when I first got to the league, there was a guy on my team. His name's Anthony Parker. I'm sure I've mentioned it before. He liked golf, and I was young and didn't play golf, and he took me to the golf course, and we chipped and hit and played a couple of times, and next thing you know, that's the only thing I want to do. So that's I caught the bug at the right time, and obviously Tiger Woods era was starting right then, so I was clearly on that train as well, and it's never left me. I don't know if it will.
What's your handicap now?
I am a 2.4 right now is my index. My handicap's probably like a 5 at my home course, so I'm getting it around. I'm doing
It's a
well.
pretty good slope rating where you're playing most of your golf. So one of the things you just talked about your nonlinear path to success
Hmm.
in football. In your Hall of Fame induction speech, you spoke, the phrase you used stuck with me, and you called it a crisis of confidence.
Yeah.
Did you suffer from a crisis of confidence?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, I did. And I think a lot of my friends, particularly one, my buddy Brian, he actually works on the Champions Tour, in their equipment, but he was with me the whole time because I met him when I first got here. I wasn't having any success. I wasn't getting an opportunity to play, and a crisis of confidence is when because I don't think anybody can have it. But I knew I was good. I was great in college. I was all ACC 3 years in a row, All American 3 years. I was led the nation in interceptions in college. It wasn't as if I didn't know that I was a good player. But when you get to a level that all of a sudden seems more difficult or the success isn't coming as easy, that's when my crisis came. I wasn't sure that I was good enough to play in the NFL. I didn't know, and I needed a support group to help me realize that I was. And I was with my wife now, girlfriend then at the time. My brother was obviously a great crutch for me, my mom. But my friends here were the ones who really lifted me up and helped me get through it and, forced my hand to go back to work and figure out ways to be different. and, find ways to get better and become a better pro. And so I did that, and it didn't take long for success to follow. So I know what the path looked like. It's hard to explain sometimes how to do that to other people's careers and lives, but for me, it took me like having some self doubt to really understand that I really wanted what I ended up getting, and it was fun. It was a fun challenge. There was times when I didn't think it was going to work out, but I enjoyed the challenge, and I think that's probably why I got the results that I did at the end.
When you say there were times that you didn't think it was going to work out, that the funny thing is about team sports where you have owners and management is that crisis of confidence, that self-doubt, as you also mentioned, can also lead to institutional doubt and
Hmm.
them running out of patience to keep you hanging around. Were you ever
Right.
concerned? Here you are, we
Yeah.
all do this, right? We look backwards from the green to the tee at someone's career.
Yeah.
But at the start of your career, was there ever a time that you worried about, if I don't get this stuff together, they're gonna give me the door or show me the door?
Oh yeah, there was probably 2 years, 3 years there. Not maybe not into my third year, but probably like 2.5 years where I was worried that they were gonna just move on. They drafted a corner the year after me, Brian Kelly, who ended up being a great friend of mine, and a really good mentor and competitor through a number of years. But Tiki and I used to always say, whether you believe you can or believe you cannot, you're probably right. Right. And so I think coming to a realization that you can helps you get over that doubt, and it helps eliminate, in your mind. And then institutionally, they also say, all right, he's got it now. And I think at some point, that you start seeing improvement. I know my team started seeing improvement, and then they started seeing, well, this guy making a whole bunch of plays that nobody else even we thought he could make, that nobody else is making either. And that institutional, I guess, concern went away pretty quickly.
Good. Thank
But
goodness. Yeah.
I do believe exactly what you say. Self doubt can cause other people to doubt you as well. So conquering it is, if you really want to conquer it, it has to start inside, right? It has to be something that you tell yourself that you're going to overcome. And I did. And I couldn't see at some point, Matt, and I don't know when it was, to be quite honest with you. At some point through my work, trying to get better, I started to see myself not failing, right? So that crisis of confidence just kind of started to evaporate. And I was like, no matter what happens, I'm succeeding here. Fear of failure is that's high, but I see myself succeeding in even more. And then for the rest of my career, the only projection I ever made was success, finding ways to be my best self every single day, every single game, every single year. And you take inventory of that at the end of your career, and you got what you got.
This week of the Valspar Championship, Rodney, it had to be good news for you guys when you hear that you can't have a successful event on the PGA Tour unless you have a title sponsor that you've got a relationship with like this, and your title sponsor recently announced that they're going to extend.
Yeah, it's a big pat on all of our backs right now, because you just never know. Obviously, with what's the polite way to say, the changing landscape amongst the PGA Tour, it's been a challenge. Trust me, those negotiations were not linear either. There was a lot that had to happen for this to come together. But Valspar has been an unbelievable partner for us for over 10 years now. I think I was counting. I think I've been part of this for 11 years. This is my fourth year as general chairman. And talking to some previous past general chairman, realizing that through the course of this commitment with the PGA Tour, that this tournament has never had a repeat title. Nobody's ever renewed. And this is now the third time that Valspar has renewed with us. So we're ecstatic. The fact that they have as much faith in us as we do in them, to make us whole as a charity. I'm general chairman of the charity, Copperhead Charities, which is the 501c3 host organization. So as much confidence they have in me and in our group, that we also have in them, to sign on for 5 more years, it's pretty awesome for us right now. This is it feels really good for this entire organization. Obviously, Tracy West and ProLink Sports as well, because they're the ones that make it happen. But for this group to be doing this a third time is special. It's special for all of us.
Does it amaze you in any way to think of the fact that golf can be used as a forum to raise 50 some odd $1 million for charity? And I know you guys have the sense that you're just getting started in that regard, but you're really touching and changing lives because of what you're doing.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, 2 years ago when we crossed the $50 million threshold as an organization, this Copperhead Charity started in 1977 to host professional golf, right? And so it was a mixed field event until 2000. Then it became a PGA Tour event. And over the course of the latter part of those years, obviously we started raising a lot of money, $1.5 million, $2 million every year. We gave just under 1.4 last year, and we'll look to do the same this year. Yeah, just to understand that our impact is well beyond golf. I mean, golf is the platform, right? It's the road we're traveling down. But the reality is all of us are only doing this to impact the Tampa Bay community. And there's some really deserving charities, some that are cornerstones for us, like Habitat for Humanity. Tampa General Hospital, where this film is being filmed, is our second biggest sponsor, but they're also our second biggest beneficiary in terms of charity dollars. And we can't thank our groups enough that continue to be part of this championship with us and are rewarded with it by the philanthropy that we're giving back into the community. So it's that part is humbling because we know the type of work that it takes to put on a golf tournament. I mean, it's a $15-16 million event, right? And of that, over cost and expenses with the tour, expenses with the players, we still try to turn a profit to give to charity. 100% of it goes back to charity. So that's our main goal, to find a way to be profitable year in and year out.
Absolutely incredible. ValsparChampionship.com, folks, if you want more information on any of what we're discussing with Ronde Barber. When you're together with your brother Tiki and from the legendary career he had with the Giants and yours with the Bucks,
Yeah.
is it true with when you have a twin like that? Is it true that you don't always need to speak? That you guys just both, you know what I'm saying? You both just kind of know it. And maybe in a private moment you're together, you just look at each other and know that neither one of you would be where you are if you didn't have each other?
That's exactly right. Growing up, we weren't very communicative. We talked to each other in mumbles, and it was more nonverbal communication. Obviously, we've grown out of that. We went to pretty good school, and we both work in TV to a degree. So it's we're definitely grown out of the quiet, humble stages. But to the point that you asked, the question that you asked, I know for a fact that I wouldn't be where I'm standing, where I'm sitting, wouldn't be in the stature of my life if I didn't have him around. It's just a constant. I don't want to say motivation because that's not the right word, but a constant like drive to be the same or better as my twin was, and I think you and I probably talked about this, but Tiki was the much smarter of us. He was valedictorian in high school. He was actually always bigger, faster, stronger than I was. So I was always climbing to try to match his accomplishments. But then at the end of the day, I always had more success. So he was also trying to find a way. He was also trying to find. And I say that, Matt, because, for example, we both went to nationals in high school in track and field. Tiki was the runner-up in the long jump. I won nationals as a hurdler. And so I was always chasing him, but he was always chasing me too. And we're probably unique in that regard, that both twins were so successful that it gave us a chance to keep trying to climb on top of each other's successes. So that part was actually really fun. But, the emotional connection was probably even more so, just feeling like I was living vicariously through him and he was living vicariously through me, watching each other on the path. We talk a lot about the destination. We've talked a lot about the destination on this show today, but I mean, that journey, I would take that journey over 100 times and get to different destinations and still be very satisfied. It was just a cool thing to be able to have, and be part of my life. And people say, "What's it like to be a twin?" It's like, I don't know what it's like to be a twin because I don't know what it's like not to be a twin.
Yeah.
That's all I have is what I have with my brother. Obviously, my family too, but he was the probably the biggest part of it all.
It's classic. Just mark the time right now, folks, because you said what you said on national TV and syndicated around the world. Not sure what time your brother gets off the air in the morning, but he'll know what just happened. He's probably getting phone calls as we speak. I just wrote down some names. This is just one guy's opinion, right? Federer, Nadal, Peyton Manning, Kobe, Muhammad Ali, Larry Bird, Tom Brady. In our sport of golf, I'd go Arnold Palmer. I'd go Tiger Woods. I'd go, I think, he who's over your left shoulder, Ben Hogan. Yeah. Rodney, first of all, why do you have Ben Hogan over your left shoulder in that artwork?
Interestingly, I'm in my bar. This is it used to be my kids' playroom. It turned into my kid playroom. So you see those little flags that are over there on this side, I guess, on the wall. That used to be like part of a Dora the Explorer thing that we had here. So we kept little elements of what used to be their playroom. You could see the little monkey over this shoulder was there too. But then I transformed it into like a little bourbon bar. And so I was at an event, my very first event in Valspar before I was on the board of Copperhead Charities. And this artist was there. He's painting this thing upside down, this Ben Hogan upside down. And I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And so I bought it.
They're classic.
I bought it from the guy.
Well, it's perfect because of where I'm going with this whole thing, and that when we spoke earlier in the show about this early, as you phrase it, crisis of confidence, self-doubt, that you overcame, the impression is that Ronde Barber, while you had your family, you had your mom, you had your brother, you had people close to you that were telling you were good enough and you could do this, and I know that a voice within you was keeping that spark alive, telling you that too. But there's the rest of the world that you have to convince. All those people that I just mentioned to you, all of those greats that you number amongst, had a chip on their shoulder. Every single one of them. Sometimes it wasn't even real. They created it in their own mind so that they were motivated. How much did you do that? And how would you say that there was, if there was, a value to it?
Yeah, there's a absolute value to it. And it's not necessarily, and I used it in my Hall of Fame speech as saying that I went to work angry. And trying to quantify that is almost impossible, but to qualify it is pretty easy. I felt like even after I overcame my self-doubt, that there was still doubt out there about me. And so nobody seemed to want to recognize the things that I was doing. Now, I also mentioned in my Hall of Fame speech that it's easy to be marginalized when you're playing with Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Warren Sapp, Simeon Rice, all the guys. Simeon will be hopefully someday, all Hall of Famers and all great players. And so I was kind of the guy that was just unnoticed for a long time until, my accomplishments became, impossible to miss, impossible to ignore. And so the fact that I came to work angry, or that I put that proverbial chip on my shoulder, was really just a way to keep me realizing that you're never satisfied. You can't be satisfied, because as soon as you're satisfied, the three worst words you can say in sport are in conjunction are, I got it. I got it. No, you don't. Because as soon as you get it, you're done. And so I use that as a way to just stay motivated. And that nobody was ever going to believe in me, in my mind. So I had to go work harder than my peers. I had to go do things that other people weren't willing to do. or at least in my mind, they weren't willing to do. And it kept me working. It kept me trying to be better than I was. Rod Marinelli, who was a great coach of ours back in the day, he used to always say, man, you never stay the same. You only get better or you get worse. You never stay the same. It's impossible to stay the same. Like science will tell you it's impossible for one thing to stay the same. It's either getting better or getting worse in our terms. And so that chip, I think that you're talking about, that these guys manufactured or actually really had, it helped them continue to get better. And it's how you find true greatness. I talk to my daughters a lot about this, and I probably should emphasize it more when they were younger. But now that my youngest is finishing her college career playing lacrosse, I mean, it seems even more relevant to tell her that, when it's over, it's over. So you need to be able to work harder than the person that you're playing with and against, right? That's the only way you find greatness, right? If you're more concerned about what you're doing before or after the event, then you're never going to be great at the event. You got to find a way to be like your best self at the time when you need to be your best self. And the only way to do that is try to be better than your opponent. And sometimes your opponent's internal. My coaches used to always talk about adversity. What adversity is external, of course, but a lot of adversity is internal. And internal is like your teammate sometimes. Sometimes you're the guy that's trying to beat you out, or the guy that you want to make sure doesn't beat you out. That's an internal adversity that is only going to make you better. So I just like trying to embrace that. I try to do it on a golf course now. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it definitely worked in my previous realm.
Do you think when you have the chance to speak with kids, right? I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
under 15, maybe it could be a little old, but I'm going to say under 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
How do you translate that message so that they can understand it, so that they can
Yeah.
realize that they have capacity and they have dreams and they have hopes and there's things that they can accomplish when everything, maybe their own family, but definitely society is telling them to
Right.
fit in and just do enough to
Right.
just get by or take shortcuts. And instead, your message is not that.
Right. It's definitely softer than what I just said. I wouldn't tell a kid to be that way. I think the best way to tell that message is to say, the road to whoever said this, but I don't know who said it, but I know like the road to success would be much more traveled if people didn't get off looking for shortcuts, right? Like you got to do the work, you got to do what's hard. And the reason you do it is because it's hard. Because if you're able to accomplish hard, then everything else comes easy. My buddy's daughter watched me make all those plays, and she said, "Man, you make it look easy. It's like the ball's just coming to you." I was like, "No, it's because I did all the hard work already, right? I did my preparation. I'm physically ready to go, mentally over prepared to go, and so the performance is then easy, right? So I did all the hard work, and so I didn't get off looking for shortcuts. I didn't try to skip out on going to the jugs machine or doing those extra drills, backpedaling, or working on my, the fundamentals of my game. I embraced working on them and took the long, hard road to work on them. And so, performance becomes a lot easier when you do that. So, kid under 15, you really just want them to stay in it and to believe in themselves. And I think the best way to do that is to tell them that don't be scared to work hard. Don't be scared to do more than the guy sitting next to you, even if that guy next to you is your best friend and your teammate.
How important is this mindset and your ability to lead? I've told you forever, you remind me more of a CEO of like a huge corporation as anything else. It's incredible with the way you inspire. Is this a mindset and is this a message that you were able to bring to the Copperhead Charities and you were able to bring
Yeah.
to the Valspar Championship so that you guys continue to improve?
Yeah, I definitely challenge our group. I certainly challenge my tournament director because Tracy has a tough job, balancing our books, especially this year, coming into a year when the tour gives us a new funding model and it's very, very hard to turn profit with what they've turned on us. And we understand that there's going to be some struggles in 2020, 2025. But it's also why we're very, very thankful for Valspar for what they're giving us in 26 to 30. Because I hate to lose. I can't stand losing. Um, uh, Especially if you've done everything right and you've prepared yourself to try to put yourself in a position to succeed, and then to have variables be in place that are kind of working against that. I think it's probably where my best assets come in handy, is because I have this attitude that I think I've kind of portrayed to you today. Uh, it's a challenge, right? And I'm not scared to challenge my copperheads, definitely not my board, and certainly not Tracy, who I have a great relationship, and her sales team. They're phenomenal. They go out to this community. They try to generate interest and then sales in an environment where we opened up this show talking about. There's so much to do in Tampa Bay, sports wise. There's so much to do, but yet we have a bunch of loyal sponsors and patrons and volunteers, certainly, that come out to our tournament every single year, and want to help make this the best tournament that it can possibly be. So I think kind of my background does help with that to a degree,
Yeah.
but the reality is we got a bunch of great people working with us, and I'm just very fortunate to be the steward of the group right now, and oversee a great organization with great people.
You had mentioned, you said you were trying to put it politely when you talked about golf's changing landscape, obviously referring to the top competitive level of the game. Uh,
Hmm.
what do you have to say to the world at large? I'm talking about fans. I'm talking about everybody in terms of saying, the old philosophy of be where your feet are and appreciate what's
Yeah,
right in front of our nose, and the great golf that
yeah.
we're seeing week in and week out, and the great golf course we're going to be seeing this week with the Valspar Championship and more. About just kind of at times, and this is saying it with full knowledge, Ronde, that you were one of the hardest workers in the history of the NFL, but there are times to smell the roses and enjoy what's happening all around you.
Yeah, I mean, because we don't know. I mean, assuming that something solidifies golf, and on all the big names are presumably come back together or play together. I mean, I don't know that. I don't have the answer to that. That's certainly out of my lane. Do I have opinions about it? Sure, but my my opinions don't matter. Just like most opinions don't matter. I'd love for this to be easy, but it's certainly not. A fractured game of golf makes it hard for us to draw people to our golf tournament. But at the same time, I look at Cognizant 2 weeks ago when the kid Highsmith, won, and he made the number on the cut, and I think he had the lowest, he had 6 under around 64s or whatever. He's
Mm-hmm.
playing on our field this week, right? I would have not known that guy's name had he not won Cognizant at the beginning of the Florida Swing, and yet that's what golf is about. Our champion last year, Peter Malnati, hadn't won in however many years, got 15 years, I think it was. He hadn't won, and his message to us and to professional golf was that the Valspar Championships of the world still matter. They're still kids' dreams to win a professional golf event, and to win the Valspar Championship, right? And
Mm.
it may not be a signature event, right? We're the week after the Players, right? We're the week after 2 weeks after the API. The Masters is right down the road from us. We're not those events, but yet we still are a PGA Tour event where the best golfers in the world get to play on one of the most beautiful courses in Florida. And so we embrace that. So you talk about smelling roses, those are the roses that we smell, right?
Yeah.
And we just want everybody to understand that, if even though we're not in the glory spot on terms of exposure, we're still pretty awesome, and we'll take our little piece of awesome all day long. So
No doubt about that. How much will you sell that Ben Hogan picture for?
I don't even know what it cost. I forget what it cost.
You're a legend, Rodney Barber. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate you, man.
See ya. Have fun this week. Valspar Championship, folks. ValsparChampionship.com if you want more information.